Greetings all, I'm Anime Al, and I just got back from seeing Avengers Age of Ultron. Now, I don't know how many of you are aware of this, but I'm a huge fan of superhero movies, and I was really excited to see this. So, yeah, I thought I'd just do this short vlog video, giving my thoughts and take on some things without spoiling anything, so you shouldn't have to worry about that, at least not anything that you wouldn't have seen from the trailers or promotional material, okay? Alright, now I know some of you are probably thinking, oh, Jesus Christ, do we really need another vlog or review of Avengers Age of Ultron? And I got two things in that regard to say about that. Number one, no, we probably don't. But it's been so long since I've done a full review of anything that I feel a little bit bad. I mean, I've been delayed. I've had good reason why I haven't put out another review, but I still feel kind of bad, so this is sort of my apology for that. Second of all, I don't go out to the theaters very often, so I figure when I do, I might as well give you my thoughts since this is a rare occurrence for me. Alright, so for those of you who are unfamiliar with anything about this movie, which I highly doubt since this is one of, if not the most hyped movies of the year, except maybe for another one, Star Wars! Alright, so the story of this film takes place several years after the first Avengers film, I think a few months, years. It takes place sometime later. Sorry, I'm a little tired. It's really late. Anyway, so the Avengers are on the trail to track down Loki's scepter from the first movie. Eventually, they get to Hydra base. Hydra there. Events lead to one another that lead to the creation of an artificially intelligent machine called Ultron. Ultron was created to be this peaceful machine to help protect the world, but he believes that in order for there to be everlasting peace, the human race has got to go. Can't say he's exactly wrong, though. I mean, we are a bit of a violent species, but sucks to be us. So naturally, the Avengers try to stop him. And that's all I'm going to say in regards to the plot, because I don't want to spoil anything. Now, let's see. In regards to action scenes, oh my goodness, this has some great action scenes with Captain America's shield flying all over the place. The fighting choreography was great. One of the things that I really appreciate about Joss Whedon is that he likes to mix CG with practical effects. You get that, Hollywood? Use a bit of both. Don't just stick to one, okay? So, in terms of acting, the acting was spectacular. I can't think of a single bad performance in the entire film, although there was one that I wasn't particularly fond of, but I'll get to that later. Now, let's see. What else can I talk about? Well, I guess the music was pretty good there. It used a lot of the soundtrack, reused a lot of the soundtrack from the first film, which I didn't mind because I thought it was pretty good. Yeah, so in regards to the characters are as good as they've always been. Let's see, Iron Man's the cocky guy who thinks he has the answers to everything. Thor is the brute force with the dynamic being of the Hulk and Bruce Banner split personality still being, in my opinion, the most interesting character aspect of the Avenger films. It's just a great movie, but it's not without its flaws. The first and foremost being, and this is not really a flaw, but it's just something that really bothered me. Now, I'm not sure if you are aware of this, but Ultron in this film, the CGI captured voice was done by James Black. Now, James Black is a fantastic actor, and he got Ultron's voice down to a T. But this is not the Ultron that I know from the comics. Ultron in the comics was this ruthless, emotionless machine. But he's not supposed to be sarcastic and have witty one-liners, which he does in this movie. Now, I have no idea if this was James Black's idea or Josh Whedon's, but that's not Ultron. Ultron's supposed to be cold, ruthless, doesn't have anything resembling emotion whatsoever. The reason why he tries to wipe out the human race is because to him, the only way for everlasting peace is our extinction, which I know I said before, but that's his logical conclusion. He's like, this is the logical course of action. But in this film, he's not quite like that. I mean, there's some elements that are like that. For lack of a better term, Terminator that he was from the comics. I suppose I might have done that to avoid comparisons with the Terminator. Ironically enough, I saw a trailer to Terminator 5 in the trailers before I saw the movie. 5. Oh. No more Terminator. I love the first two, but no more. Okay, back up to Age of Ultron. There were some criticisms to some things that I don't necessarily agree with. There was romance that was blossoming between two particular characters. If you've seen the movie, you know who characters I'm talking about. To the people who don't like it, I say, Josh was clearly building up to this in his previous films. I'll admit, when I first was seeing this romance build, I was like, what? That didn't happen to source material. But I was like, no. Josh was dropping little hints before. So I can understand why you get pissed off, but what we have to understand here is that this is not the comic. We have to treat Age of Ultron as its own thing. And as its own thing, it's pretty awesome. But there were several scenes in the film that were building to Captain America Civil War and Thor Ragnarok. And a lot of people found that distracting. And I'm not gonna lie, I found it a bit distracting myself. Yeah. But it didn't bother me too much. I mean, we have to come to terms here, folks, that this film is a part of a bigger picture. Age of Ultron is a piece of a jigsaw puzzle, okay? It's a fantastic piece on its own, but it's got to connect to the other pieces, okay? So let's see. Anything else I'm mentioning? Oh, one of my favorite fight scenes of the film, which you probably saw in the trailers, was Iron Man in the Hulk Buster armor versus the Hulk. Oh, I was so looking forward to that fight for the trailers. And when I actually saw it, I was not disappointed. Holy Christ. Do you know in the comics, the guy has rarely ever been beaten? I can only think of one superhero that ever beat him, and that was Black Bolt. So to see one of the few people that can stand toe-to-toe against the Hulk go up against him there, I mean, in my opinion, Iron Man in some ways is a better adversary than the Hulk than Thor. And I know what some of you are going to say, what, Thor is a god? How could Stark be a better adversary for Hulk? Because he's smarter in strategy and technology and stuff like that. He can plan out his attacks more than Thor. Not that Thor's stupid exactly, but he swing the hammer first and ask questions later. So let me see, what else can I talk about this film? Let's see. Oh, the Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver, two new characters that are introduced into this film. I thought they were really good, but I kind of felt that they needed just a little more screen time so we connect to them more. It's interesting to note that Josh originally said that, well, he said that he originally was planning this film to be over 3 hours long. But Disney was like, you're not doing that. That's too long. That's what drove a lot of people away from Peter Jackson's King Kong. You are not doing that. So the film got cut. And I really want to see what the original cut is. I really want to see what it is. Because I have a feeling there was a few parts that would have built up Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver a bit more. And also built up Ultron a little because Ultron just sort of begins to attack the Avengers, like, out of nowhere in a way. I mean, it felt like they were rushing a few parts here and there. So I really, really want to see the original cut. I'm definitely buying the Blu-ray when it comes out. Definitely not a doubt in my mind. Oh boy, I'm losing it here, folks. I'm dozing off, so I better think of something quick. What else to talk about? Okay. What really helped also sell that this is a expanded part of the universe was they had War Machine and the Falcon from Iron Man and Captain America films also in this film. And that I really enjoyed. I heard War Machine was going to be in it, but I didn't know Falcon was going to be in it, and I really did like seeing those two in there. And oh, how could I forget Josh Whedon's famous dialogue? The dialogue in here is great. It was really witty, but most of it didn't get me to laugh as hard as it did with Avengers, the first one. Sorry, I thought there was like a Avengers. No, it was just Avengers. So yeah, in the first film, some of the lines got me to laugh so hard, I bent over crying a little bit. It hurt me a little to laugh, especially the famous scene where Hulk takes Loki and, well, you know what he does with Loki. Yeah, so, but while it wasn't quite as funny, or at least maybe I'm just a little more used to it. You know, I've been exposed to Josh Whedon's style so much that I've seen what he's going to do maybe a little bit more, but still I did laugh quite a bit and smirked a lot at some of the one-liners. Even Ultron's, which I felt was inappropriate, as I said, for this character, but there you go. So, if I had to sum up Avengers Age of Ultron, it would be bigger in scope than the first movie, but not as well executed. Not that I'm blaming Josh or Disney or whoever, okay? There was no way in heck that these guys were going to beat the first movie. No way. I was a little disappointed in some areas, but by and large, hardly disappointed at all. It's just an amazing film for the most part, and I'd recommend that everyone who hasn't seen it yet should see it. If you see only one movie this year, you should probably see Star Wars. But if you see a second movie this year, you should see Avengers Age of Ultron. Now, if you excuse me, I'm going to plop to sleep. Sorry, I can't even talk now. I'm going to plop to sleep. I'm going to lie down on the floor and wake up in 3 days.